All right, welcome back. We have been the very lucky recipient of the Weight Watchers 50th Anniversary Cookbook. There's classics in here from those of you who might have done Weight Watchers for the last, I don't know, 30 or 40 or 50 years. There's also updates. They take some favorites and really put a really modern twist on them. There it is, that 50th Anniversary Cookbook. But one thing that I find that I get bored with real easy is the side dish. So we went with some side dishes that this book recommends, and we tested them. One side dish actually is the Vidalia Onion Balsamico. And this is a baked dish, and it's actually a Weight Watchers classic from like the 70s and 80s. So this is a dish that they've recently updated, but they're Vidalia onions, and basically you need 2 Vidalia onions, and it's the simplest thing you're going to do, but you want them to be sliced like this into slivers. Now, I'm not cutting them on TV because, you know, I rarely chop things on TV because of, well, it could be dangerous, but also when you take these Vidalia onions and cut them, you're going to cry. I cried and cried. I mean, Josie can verify my tears were flowing when I chopped these up. But you want them to be in slivers like this, okay? That's all you do. You put it into a baking dish, and that's it. What you want to add to it is the balsamic vinegar, and just spread it on there. Not very much balsamic vinegar. You're talking about 2 tablespoons worth of balsamic vinegar. You're going to put a little bit of olive oil. Again, very small amount of olive oil on here to keep things moist. And then you're going to put a little thyme on there. We chopped it up. It looks beautiful. You put that on there. And so far, I mean, calorie-wise, that you have to count only the olive oil, or points if that's your deal. The key to this recipe, though, is 2 teaspoons of sugar. So you've got your very sweet kind of onions, and then you do 2 teaspoons of sugar on these onions. And I'm telling you, you do have to count the sugar, but it's so little, such a little amount that I'm not too worried about it. So at any rate, I put a little bit of sea salt on mine, not a ton, and a little bit of black pepper. And that is it for this dish. Now, you're going to do a 1/4 cup of water just to keep things moist. You're going to have an oven that's up at about 450 degrees. I'm just going to move this around a little bit so that it gets down to the bottom. And you're going to bake this at 450 for about 35 minutes. And that's it. This is it. Now, it's going to take a while because what you want is these to get kind of a golden color. And every, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, maybe add a little bit more of that water. So I started out with a 1/4 cup of water, but add a 1/4 cup at a time to keep things nice and soft. You want everything, you don't want them to dry out, you want them to stay moist. Okay, so that is a huge recommendation. I love the recipe. Not only did we use it as a side dish at my house, I have been putting it on chicken. I made some grilled chicken, I made some baked chicken, put that onion on top of it, and it turns every chicken dish into something spectacular. All right, the other item that we found in the cookbook that we love is a green bean, tomato, zucchini, corn, succotash. And again, you have hardly any ingredients you need to worry about when it comes to your diet. We melted about a tablespoon of butter, and actually I cooked the green beans earlier. We didn't have time for that, but buy fresh green beans, cut them to about 1 inch, 1.5 inches, boil them for about 3 minutes, then put them in cold water because you don't want them cooked, super cooked. Start with your butter. You're going to do about a tablespoon of butter. And then I'm using a little bit of a garlic paste. You can chop some garlic, but I got so sick of chopping onions because I did 4 onions before the show started, that I did my little garlic spread to add that garlic touch to it. You do that, and then you put your onions in, and that is going to be taking you about 2 or 3 minutes. You want your onions to kind of soften up. I don't have 2 or 3 minutes just on my onions, but this succotash recipe, the only thing you need to worry about for the most part when it comes to counting your calories or whatever you're counting, your points plus, the only thing you really need to worry about are the fat, which is a very little bit of butter. We used unsalted, tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons to your liking, and then the corn, because although corn's a vegetable, you know, you have to treat it like a starch. There's some carbohydrates involved. So those are the only things that you need to worry about when it comes to this dish. So again, you're going to want to do the onions for a couple of minutes to get them nice and soft. Then you're going to add your already cooked, but not all the way, green beans to this dish. Now, it's up to you. I wish I would have done more zucchini. I made this at home, and I wish I had more zucchini. To me, when you cook zucchini, it sort of substitutes for a potato feel. The consistency of it is just, I don't know, it fills me up in a way that if I'm trying to cut down on my starchy vegetables, a zucchini will do the trick. Okay, so I'm going to turn this up a little higher, my burner. But that's it. So once you get your softened onions, then just add all your ingredients. You're probably going to want to put your tomato in last. This is my zucchini that I pretend are potatoes, right? And those are all that's just one zucchini. It's quartered and then cubed. It's looking good, isn't it? Corn. And if you don't want to do the corn, but that kind of makes it a succotash, but if you don't want to do the corn, that would be something that I would eliminate if I was a little bit worried about my carbs. We've also cubed the tomato. I have 2 tomatoes here. Drain your tomatoes off a little bit because they're so full of moisture that I sit them on a towel and let the water come out. And finally, the 2 super duper ingredients that make this thing go from just your average side dish to something with a little punch. We're going to do nutmeg and we're going to do cayenne pepper. I'm going to do just a little cayenne pepper. I did a lot. I did what the recipe called for last night, and my son said this is too spicy. So if my son says it was too spicy, it might be too spicy. Just a little pinch of the cayenne pepper, and you have turned all your boring vegetables into a zucchini, corn, green bean succotash. Now I have this for my full lunch today. That's my lunch, but you can also do it as a side dish as well. Again, all these will be linked on fullplate.tv. Thanks so much for watching. See you next week.